This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
You guys hear it? It's Jacob on Tiny Bubbles. We could all use some tiny bubbles on a Friday, am I right? Yes.
Here's to the golden moon, and here's to the silver sea. But mostly here's a toast to you and me. Tiny bubbles. Hear the water makes me happy.
Anyway, that's what my house sounds like on most nights. People playing music and singing, and there's all kinds of horns playing. It's a cacophony of noise. I'll play it a little more for you later on. Thank you for being here on the After Party Live on a Friday. Tim Sika is back today. I'm very excited to see him, and I have a lot to talk to you about. I am so excited that you are here. Thank you so much, and thank you for helping fund this show. Desperately in need of continued funding, crowdfunding, and I hate to have to harp on it, but here it is again. The PayPal link is in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who keeps this show rolling. Special thank you to Teacher Lori. I saw your email to me. It is a long one, and I can't wait to dig in. I had asked Teacher Lori for help deciphering some test results as I looked to try to find some good books for my son to read, and she really dug into it. So I'm going to check out your email after the show. And a huge thank you. I did not expect you to spend so much time on the response, but I'm very appreciative. So thank you for that. I'm very grateful. You think I should change the show to 1:30, but then oh, yeah, maybe. But then it would really only be a half-hour show because I have school pickup after that. And the start time is so fluid, really depending on when Mark's show is over. So I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll take it under advisement. How about that, Eeyore? Beth with a $20 super chat. Your show is a great antidote to all the politicals. Yes, it is. And it's been a rough week. So we are going to not talk about politics, even though I really love talking about politics, but we're going to flip it over and we're going to do some of the stories that maybe we didn't get to focus on because of the big news that happened during the week. But the other stories are still interesting as well. Beth Farmer, thank you for your contribution and your comment. I appreciate you very, very much. All right, let's jump into it. The first story that I have for you today is going to be this one. First of all, I didn't know if you knew, but there was a flood watch issued for the whole Bay Area. It doesn't look like we're going to see a lot of flooding. So it's mostly greens and yellows. And according to the guide, the legend here, marginal risk is green, slight risk is yellow. So we're going to get a lot of rain, but it doesn't look like we're going to get flooding that's that bad. Excessive rainfall outlooks for day 1 and day 2, that's Friday and Saturday around the Bay Area, issued for portions of California, marginal to slight risk for rapid onset flooding. So they say, heads up this weekend. We don't know exactly how much rain we're going to get in Northern California, but the North Bay could see up to an inch and a half, they think. The rest of the Bay Area, maybe half an inch. We'll see how it goes. The rain expected to start in the North Bay and then gradually spread southward as we move into Saturday. So, and it feels like rain in the air. It started at 7 this morning. The first rounds of rainfall over the coming days came ashore in the North Bay. And then we're going to get periods of moderate to heavy rain as it spreads south. So that's what's happening in my neck of the woods in the Bay Area. So it's a stay dry kind of weekend. Can we talk about, I have so many asteroids for you. Check this out. That's interesting, I think. And it is about asteroids showing possible support for human life, that perhaps the key to life could be found in asteroids like the Bennu asteroid sample. The scientists took rock and dust samples from the Bennu asteroid, and they have been researching and analyzing and looking into it. And they think the Bennu asteroid has molecules that are the key to life on Earth. This, according to NASA, they announced it on Wednesday. Here's the capsule that came back with the Bennu asteroid sample inside. And that is what they think. The samples gathered by NASA's Origin Spectral Interpretation Resource Identification and Security Regolith Explorer. If that isn't a mouthful, I don't know what is. They call it OSIRIS-REx for short. The samples, they say, show that those ingredients include several molecules and salt water that created a kind of broth in which the molecules and other compounds could interact and mix up to create new life forms on Earth and in the solar system. NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission already rewriting the textbook, they say, on what we understand about the beginnings of our solar system. Here's a look at what they found. A look at the soup for a life. Fascinating. Scientists say asteroids provide kind of this time capsule look into our home planet's history. The samples from Bennu, they say, are pivotal in our understanding of what ingredients in our solar system existed even before life started on Earth. So NASA scientists published their findings in the journals Nature and Nature Astronomy, and they say 14 of the 20 amino acids that life on Earth uses to create proteins were found in the samples collected from the Bennu asteroid in 2020 and then delivered to Earth 3 years later. They also found all 5 nucleobases that enable life on Earth to store and transmit genetic signals to biomolecules like DNA, RNA, and then convert amino acids into protein. That's not all. But wait, they also found high amounts of ammonia in the samples, which can create complex molecules when the ammonia reacts with formaldehyde under just the right circumstances. That could lead to the creation of amino acids and other complex molecules that can start the creation of proteins and support most biological functions. But wait, there's even more. Scientists also found traces of calcite, halite, sylvite, and other minerals capable of supporting life. They say they're hoping to find the origins of life in the solar system and on Earth by studying these rock and dust samples from the Bennu asteroid and other cosmic sources. So there it is. Why look into asteroids? Because we find cool stuff out like that. There was a report of a football-sized asteroid that perhaps was on some kind of collision course with Earth. But was it? Really? I don't know. Scientists say they're monitoring this football pitch-sized asteroid that could hit Earth in the future. They say the Earth takes a direct hit from such an asteroid once every few thousand years. They were calling it 2024 YR4. It could hit and cause severe damage to a local region. They say it measures about 100 meters by 40 meters. It's currently at a distance of around 27 million miles and moving away from the planet, but they think its path will cross the Earth's orbit on December 22nd of 2032. Make a note of it because apparently it's coming for us then. Most likely they think it'll be a near miss. Maybe it'll pass within a few thousand miles. They don't know. Once they confirm some type of risk, they'll let us know more. Thanks. We appreciate it. But then we got this note, and this, by the way, was party mail from Calvin Wong. Shout out producer Calvin Wong. And he says, wait a minute. There's this space junk courtesy of Elon Musk. And they say, wait a minute. There's newly discovered asteroid is not an asteroid at all. It's actually the remains of Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster and Starman, the driver that he put behind the wheel of this Tesla Roadster. Remember that was launched into space in 2018 as if the space needed any more space junk, but there it is. So they say they've misidentified this object because it's actually not a space rock, it's the remains of the cherry red Tesla Roadster and Starman. The list of near Earth asteroids had a new addition, 2018 CN41, that was added to the International Astronomical Union's Minor Planet Center on January 2nd. Now they say, yeah, no, it's the Tesla. It's not. Hours after they added it to this list of asteroids, they released an editorial note retracting the discovery. The citizen scientists realized they'd made a mistake. This Tesla Roadster was previously used by Elon Musk. It was launched into space in 2018 as the test payload for the maiden launch of SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket. Kind of a publicity stunt. Got a lot of attention at the time because of Starman behind the wheel, kind of this mannequin in the spacesuit. Listening to David Bowie's album Space Oddity on loop. The car and its driver headed toward Mars after escaping Earth's gravity. They were supposed to enter a stable orbit around Mars, and that raised alarms at the time that it could become some kind of bio threat if it crash landed there. But it overshot its target and it entered a stable orbit around the sun, and it now circles the sun and occasionally zooms past Mars. It has now completed 4.5 trips around the sun. It's traveling at about 45,000 miles an hour. So Elon Musk's red Tesla Roadster has exceeded its initial 36,000 mile warranty at least 100,000 times. At least he did something right or wrong, because we really didn't need any more space junk out there. Okay, it's time, and I'm excited. It is the return of At the Movies with Tim Sika. Welcome back, Tim Sika.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Busy, always busy. You know, there's always something to watch, so I'm always busy. Yep.
Awesome. You've got a lot of good movies today for us, and I'm interested in comparing your opinions to those of Michael Snyder for You're Cordially Invited.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
yeah, you're cordially invited. Well, okay, let me say first that this is a new romantic comedy starring Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell, who both produce this, by the way, which is interesting. And they play two people who mistakenly booked the same venue, you know, this lakeside country venue for
Sure.
the dream wedding of in Farrell's case, his daughter, his beloved daughter, and in Reese Witherspoon's case, her beloved sister. So anyway, so there's this mistaken booking thing. And I can only guess that this movie was made for the widest of all possible audiences, for the masses, really. I could see it playing exceptionally well in a packed theater where audiences were really attuned to its goofiness and silliness and total predictability. But this was about as farthest away from the kind of romantic comedy that I like and that I think are a credit to the genre. It did not work for me at all. I found it remarkably and interminably annoying and grating and silly and ridiculous and obvious and insanely contrived and stupid. This is such a stupid movie with these verbal back and forths amongst the characters playing like they were written by a committee. Right? Because that committee probably wanted to cover all of its bases in appealing to the widest possible audience. And it's one of the most front-loaded romantic comedies possibly ever made. I'm so tired of Will Ferrell's shtick. I can't believe Reese Witherspoon, who appears to anyway be holding her own in what in her gut she, being one of the producers, had to believe was just this ridiculous train wreck of a script. I mean, I have no objectivity about this movie whatsoever, so I just want to say that the only thing I liked were the movie is sort of bracketed by a bit of Stephen Sondheim's A Little Night music from the play, and that's something that automatically engages this critic. But I just found the romance to be insanely contrived and predictable. The comedy unfunny. And for a romantic comedy, Kim, with those two elements lacking, well, how deadly is that? I mean, come on. And as to the comedy, however, and I'm going to give it a backhanded compliment, this movie, I'll admit that at one point the movie got so stupid and so bad and unfunny, it actually, for about 10 split seconds, became funny because it was so bad. But
I don't think that's what they intended. No.
Yeah, I don't know. But hey, look, if you're a fan of these stars, if you find the movie itself funny, humor's weird, right? What somebody laughs at and finds funny could have another person just staring into space. But if you find it funny, then it works. If you believe the romance, then it works. But for me, I found the whole thing unfunny and totally unbelievable as a romance. Therefore, it didn't work for me at all, and I can't recommend it. Sorry.
Oh, not recommended. Wow.
No. What did Michael think?
He said the first 2/3 of the movie he found enjoyable. The last third he did not. He said he kind of blandly recommended it, but he wasn't in love with the movie.
Yeah, see, I found it too. The other thing, just technically as a movie, it kept repeating the same beats like over and over and over and over. No. And I love Reese Witherspoon. I can take Will Ferrell in short spurts, but I mean, he just did that sticky thing that he always does. And everything was overplayed and overwrought, and you're going to watch it anyway, right?
I don't know.
You should check it out.
Tammy says she's watching it. Tammy's going to watch it. Okayest Mama Ever says it sounds a bit like a Hallmark movie.
Hallmark movies, as a rule, are much better than this one, in my opinion.
Ooh, those are fighting words right there.
I know.
So this movie with these major stars, Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon, a movie like this, as Valentine's Day approaches, I would think would often be a big box office hit. A lot of people, a date movie type of thing.
You would think, yeah.
But they didn't put it into theaters. According to the bottom of the picture here, it's on Prime.
Right, it's on
streaming. So that says something to me about the quality of the movie. Do you think more movies like this are getting made that are really have bad scripts, but because we can put it right to streaming, it gets a little air?
Yeah, it gets some play. In my opinion, I think they made a mistake because I think this movie, it's a movie that would play well with audiences who were into it and who accepted the ridiculous premise and stuff, because I could just see I'm thinking, I kind of wish could be watching this movie in a packed theater, because the laughter would probably be infectious and would make me think a little less negatively about it and thinking, well, this is an audience picture. I think they made a mistake, but maybe they did think, well, maybe it wouldn't play. Maybe audiences would think it was stupid, just like Tim Sika thought it was stupid and stay away. I don't know. Marketing is so dicey. You never know what's going to go over in the marketplace. You never do.
I am already being told that we're going to see this movie. This is called Dog Man.
Dog Man. It's a movie I dreaded, but one that turned out to be pretty good.
What?
It's a DreamWorks animated feature. It's the second in the Captain Underpants franchise, and apparently it's a spin-off and a story within a story of Captain Underpants, the first epic movie from 2017, which I saw and I kind of liked, but I didn't realize that until after the fact, because it was so long ago that I saw that movie. I didn't remember the characters. I've never read the books either, but anyway, Dog Man is a human.
We have all the books at my house. So
Oh, you do. So you know who Dog Man is? He's like he's a human hybrid of like two characters, a cop, Officer Knight, and his pet dog Greg, who goes with him when they're chasing criminals. And how Dog Man, the character of Dog Man, came to be. On one particular call, Officer Knight and Greg the dog, they arrive at this location to defuse this bomb, and the bomb explodes, and Officer Knight's head is injured, and Greg's body is injured. So doctors, in order to save them both, decide to cut off dog Greg's head and attach it to police officer Knight's body, and there we have a dog-human hybrid. called Dog Man. It's a little, it's a little dark, but anyway, it's pointless to even try to discuss the plot because this movie is all over the place. But suffice it to say that in addition to Dog Man, it involves this evil cat. I think his name is Petey, an adorable small little kitten that he clones, and a fish named Flippy, who has telekinesis, voiced by Ricky Gervais of all people. And yeah, the animation style is colorful, it's wild, it's crazy looking. It's very reminiscent of the Lego movies, the animation here, and the Batman Lego movie, sort of a combination of stop motion with computer graphic animation. So that's all great fun. And I found it very sophisticated, this movie, very clever, funny, fast moving, with twisty dialogue and balls to the wall energy and style. Technically, too, in terms of just overall craft, it was an achievement in its look and in its pacing. It's kind of manic, and it's a bit confusing to follow. If there's something to criticize here, I guess it would be that it's just way too jammed with jokes and one-liners and villains and themes and visual gags. You're out of breath sometimes just trying to take it all in. But none of that really detracted for me from the film's cleverness and energy and humor. It was really funny. I'm not sure how the little ones are going to take to it because a lot of the smarts and the comic digs will probably go right over their heads, but there is the color and the look and the visual gags that they'll probably take to, and the adorable little Petey kitten that I think the wee ones will just love. So on balance, Dogman gets a big recommendation from me. It had a tidy runtime. It didn't overstay its welcome. And it was very I didn't expect it to be so sophisticated, and I love sophistication in movies.
It's made for the 10-year-old crowd, so that's
yeah. There's some really there's a lot of like verbal asides and things that I noticed at the screening I saw that the adults were just giggling at. The kids were just going, "What?" Or they just miss it. But so there's a lot here for both adults and kids, and. Yeah, I don't think you need to see the Captain Underpants, the other movie, to enjoy this because it's a totally different character. There's all new characters in this. Yeah, I was surprised. I was kind of energized in a weird way by it, so I liked it. I'm recommending it.
Part dog, part man, all hero, Dog Man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
This is a romantic horror. You don't hear that very often. It's called
Companion. Also a really nice surprise, this movie, Companion. Kim, January for some weird reason is the month that is regarded by a lot of people and critics and movie fans and maybe the studios too, although no empirical data exists to actually prove this, but it's the conventional wisdom, or the perception anyway, that January is the month all these folks consider to be the dumping ground for films, generally considered to be subpar in some ways, or in other words, unworthy of awards consideration, mostly because they come out so early in the year, right? And no one come September, October, November, December, which is award season, like now, will remember any film released in January. Well, this movie, Companion, I think if it was released much later in 2025, could have been arguably a serious contender, at least in terms of its screenplay, for one, maybe a few other categories. So anyway, oh God, how do I describe this? At its purest, this movie is one of those, and good luck with this in terms of social media today. I already saw critics spilling the beans, but Companion is one of those, probably the quintessential movie in the category of the least you know about it going in, the better. Okay. Because it's one surprise after another. The movie constantly confounds your expectations. So I don't want to talk about the plot too much, except in very general terms, but to say that this may be the most deranged date movie of all time. It has to be, with the appropriate title of Companion, because it involves the companion, a young woman, played by Sophie Thatcher, who was most recently seen in Heretic, which we talked about on your show. She's the companion of this young man, played by Jack Quaid. They're a couple who go on this weekend getaway with friends to this isolated lake house. And then dot dot dot, nothing is what it appears to be or what you
Uh-oh.
think is going to happen. And I don't know if this is a new genre, a romantic horror satire, but that's what Companion is. It's a romantic horror movie that satirizes emerging technology and power dynamics and relationships between men and
Oh.
women. And it's tinged with moments of, I want to say sick, but I should refrain from that kind of judgment.
Yeah.
It's tinged with moments of dark black comedy, which make it easier for the viewer to get through it because it gets very, very intense. And so if any of that sounds like your cup of tea, I think you need to check out Companion. I recommend it. In a January release schedule of whatever kinds of movies being released, this was a very pleasant surprise. It's good. It's good. I could, from the trailer, I thought, this looks like the typical movie they're gonna quote unquote dump into the release schedule, but it's a surprise. It's much better than you
So,
think.
when you say horror,
Yeah.
are you talking like bloody gruesome horror? Because there's a horror that I have no interest in seeing, but then there's kind of a thriller that maybe might appeal to me, or are you
Well,
talking
yeah.
real horror?
Well, this is without giving too much, I would say this is like a little of both.
Okay.
It's a thriller, but yeah, there are moments
Okay.
where I did close my eyes. Yeah,
Oh,
and then
okay. That's
I
all
did.
need
I
to
did.
know.
I hate the violence, but I'll close my eyes, and then what I instinctively know how much is left that will indicate to me how violent it actually was,
Oh,
so I
okay.
could make the notation in my notes. And this, I was glad I closed my eyes when I closed my eyes, because I was grateful for only having to see half of the graphic violence that was unfolding on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
This
yeah.
is the information that I needed, so thank you for that.
Okay.
So those
Good.
are the movies that you have to review for us, but you have some streaming options as well. And one of them I have seen. It is The Night Agent.
You've seen it?
I saw the first season and I'm partway through the second season.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yes, The Night Agent. It's a drama series that I just recently got wind of, and that's been I'm trying to do my best to catch up with streaming, and so but this was one. This has been on Netflix since 2023, but it's only now that season 2 is being dropped on Netflix. Episode 1 of season 2, I think, is out now. I don't know. I don't know if it's just episode 1 or that if the whole season 2 is out.
It's the whole season.
It is. Okay. So I got it anyway. And I understand, and I've read that they filmed a season 3 too. So yeah, it's a popular series, and I think it's a killer one. It's an action thriller series, Intrigue and Spies. It's based on the novel of the same name, and it centers on this FBI agent played by Gabriel Basso, who's in the poster there, who's thrown into this, I don't know what it is. It's a vast conspiracy web about a mole operating at the highest levels of the United States government. Basically, that's what it's about. And the first episode of season 1 grabs you right from the get-go and pretty much never lets up. And this is a series designed to literally binge. And I'm trying to explain what I mean by that. Kim, therethere's some of these series where you have to qualify to your listeners and your readers, your potential watchers of the series. Well, you say things like, well, it starts slow and you have to get through maybe episode 3 or 4 or 5 before, you get to the meat of the piece and blah, blah, blah. And it's really good, but there's some slower, perfunctory or expositional episodes that might make you want to abandon the series. Not The Night Agent. You get something from each episode, and this is all signaled in the first episode of season 1, which is this thrilling nail biter that makes you go, okay, I just got to know what's coming next. In other words, you get something from every episode, something that makes you want to immediately go to the next. Did you have that experience? That was mine.
You can't not click on the next episode.
Right. Yeah. And
you have to know what happens next.
Yes. And I love this series for that basic reason. I spend hours on it. It's smart. It keeps you constantly guessing. There are all these twists and turns. it's, you know what else I liked about it too, now that I'm thinking, it's intricately plotted, yet it's easy to follow. And that's no small feat when in
It's
terms
true.
of writing. That's
Mhm.
so it, you know, and it can get a little tense and bleak at times. There's scant humor, but when the humor does come, it arrives exactly at the point where you need it. It's kind of as a relief, if that makes any sense. And there's some, you know, we were talking about companion and horror movies and violence and stuff. There are some very gruesome strangulations in this series, which seems to be the best method that spies use in this series anyway, to dispose of their targets. Probably because I'm going, why are they strangling all these people? Probably because there's no sound, right?
Right.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. Anyway, this is one of Netflix's most popular shows, and after watching it, I totally can see why.
Yeah.
I really can, and I can't wait to get into season 2.
Okay. So I'm kind of getting into season 2 because I watched season 1 when this show first came out.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
yeah.
had to wait for season 2, and I
Oh,
don't know if if you're watching season 1 and then just kind of automatically go into season 2, if it makes it better, but I would say at this point, season 1 seems to be better than season 2.
okay. What episode are you on in season 2?
Like maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, so about maybe halfway through. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to sustain it for three seasons. I don't know. I mean, you never
Hey,
know, but I'm
oh,
I'm
there
going to
are
watch it
always
anyway. Yeah.
there are always spies among us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it
Yes.
anyway
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
something compelling about the main character. He's got this boyish face and he's
Yeah.
earnest and good guy who
Yeah.
tries to do the right thing. And so, you kind of like him automatically.
Well, you know, and he's an appealing actor too. I interviewed him a while back. He was in
Oh,
this independent film when he was just a kid, and I can't remember. It was the one about the 3 kids who were I can't remember. It was the coming of age thing, and he's a very appeal. He was also in that Showtime series with Laura Linney called The Big C. Remember, she played the mother who had stage 4 cancer, so she just decided, I'm going to just be honest with everybody I come in
right.
contact with, say what I think. He played the son, and he gave it was a beautiful performance. And anyway, it's nice to see him. I didn't realize he's now in his 30s. He's this really good adult actor, but in his persona, he incorporates all those things that made him appealing as a young actor. Only he infuses them, as this, hard guy, spy guy, and it helps that he's so appealing in the title role, this series.
Um,
Yeah.
Michael Snyder also told me that he played J.D. Vance in the movie version of Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah, I just
I
never
didn't
went
see it.
to that. I didn't either.
No, I didn't either.
No. I think I may have started to watch it, and it seemed so over the top and ridiculous. I thought, nah, I'm not
No.
gonna. And
Mm-mm.
I never did, and I never had to review it. So that's always the best excuse I have for not seeing a movie I don't want to see if I don't have to review it. So, yeah.
I
Yeah.
have not seen this one, Tim Sika. It's called The Pitt.
Yeah, this is because it just premiered.
Okay.
Yeah, it's another good series. It's a medical drama TV series. It premiered this month on HBO Max. I think there's 4 or maybe 5 episodes are now streaming on Max, with a new episode coming out every Thursday. I saw the first 4 episodes. I haven't seen the 5th one yet. And yeah, it's a medical drama series. And what's unique about this series is that each episode of the season, I think 14 episodes have been given the green light, but each episode covers 1 hour of a single 15-hour emergency department shift at this fictional Pittsburgh Medical Hospital in the trauma unit. So episode 1 covers the trauma unit from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Episode 2 from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m.
Love
and
it.
so forth. Yeah. And I've never seen ER. Have you ever seen ER?
Yeah. I used to work in an emergency room, so I've seen all of those.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, Noah Wiley, who was in that series, plays the lead senior surgeon here in the Pitt. He was also in the ER show. So I have nothing
Yeah.
to compare this series to.
Wow,
So I love that I was
look like Noah Wiley anymore. He's really looks like a man. When he was
Yeah.
in ER, he looked like a
Yeah.
boy.
He looked like a boy. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Well, yeah, he does play this like he's been through the mill kind of character, and
Mhm.
but I love that I was able to not bring any previous baggage to this because I immediately thought of VR, even though I've never watched an
Yeah.
episode of that. I mean, when I saw this, but anyway, I just thought the show was terrific. Apparently, oh, speaking of VR, I just read before I came on. Apparently, the estate of Michael Crichton, represented by his widow, sued Warner Brothers Television over breach of contract, claiming that the Pitt was a reworking of a planned sequel to ER. I don't know where that lawsuit is right now, but apparently the show is going ahead anyway. But
Okay.
the production is superb. The scripts are superb. Noah Wiley is just technically what he does as an actor in this series is mind-blowing. He's superb. The series tackles, as it takes place in the trauma unit of a hospital, from hour to hour, all you as you would think, various issues of life and death,
Yeah.
the business of medicine and the business of healthcare and hospital administration and the complications that surround that, and some of the things patients and their loved ones have to confront in these emergency situations. So it's very moving too. I don't know, it was episode 3 when this brother and sister just could not let go of their dad. So they were insisting on keeping him alive, but the keeping him alive was causing him all this discomfort and confusion. Anyway, so it's a human series as well. And I found the entire show compelling and moving and riveting, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the series has in store. I
Oh,
highly recommend it. It's great. Noah Wiley
you have
should,
me convinced. I am
yeah, no,
sold. Mhm.
yeah, no, it's. I think you'll like it, especially having worked in an
Mhm.
ER situation. Yeah, I think you'll probably relate to it more than I did. I just, after, and I watch it, I'm just going, it's hot. Hospitals are complicated. Physicians and nurses and medical personnel are human. They make mistakes. But when I finished the first 4 episodes, which they sent, I thought, what you want to do is try to just avoid having to go to the hospital if you
Mhm.
can. Take care of yourself. Do as much preventive care on your person as you can, because anyway, I liked it. I loved it. I thought it was terrific. I binged it all like straight through in like 4 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's going on my Tim Sika list.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. Yeah.
So the next one, I don't know if I have the right picture because there's so many Lincoln documentaries, but is this the right
Yeah,
one?
that's it.
Okay.
That's the one. That's
Okay.
the one I could tell by the actor. Yeah. I
Okay.
stumbled across this series just last week on Amazon Prime, and I got hooked immediately. It's a nearly 6-hour documentary series, 3 episodes on the life and career of our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. It originally aired on the History Channel, apparently in 2022, and it's got 3 components to it. There are dramatic recreations with actors playing Lincoln and Mary Todd and Lincoln's cabinet. There's actual Matthew Brady photographs of Lincoln and others who were alive in the 19th century, plus photos of Civil War carnage. So
Wow.
there's plenty of visual historical documentation here as well. And it has historians like Dolores Kearns Goodwin and politicians like Barack Obama commenting on various aspects of Lincoln's life and career. And, rather than go on about the series right now, which I highly recommend, by the way, to everyone out there, I just want to say to the majority of us out there, and we are the majority, folks, the majority of us who are exhausted by
Mhm.
the insanity and the BS of what's going on politically in this country right now, I recommend that you watch this series. It'll be like, and it'll kind of serve as, I'm certain, if I had to bet, a kind of welcome balm of reassurance and calm and sanity, because it's a reminder that we once had in this country learned presidents who understood and modeled their presidencies after the Constitution, who understood the power of rhetoric and poetry when they gave a speech, who were skilled politicians, who cared about people, and who, for just one example, as Lincoln did, and I'm paraphrasing one of the talking heads in the series, who took the Declaration of Independence, just as one example, and turned it into the country's moral compass, as in all men are created equal, who ended slavery and who stood for unity in a time of deep division in this country among the North and the South. So what am I saying? It's inspiring watching this series, Abraham Lincoln.
It sounds like it's a reminder of who we really are.
Thank you. You said it. You read. I was going to say that next. It reminds us of who we really are. And right now we're trying to be told otherwise. So it's a must see, and dollars to donuts. I think it's going to renew our or your commitment to the basic principles this country was founded on, and which we will return to. I'm certain of it when the crazies and the greedy and the emotionally immature return to their rightful place or places in the universal scheme of things. Really, I remember when I was watching this, I thought, do I really want to see this now? It's just going to depress me. It did the opposite. And it made me feel hopeful for the country. This is a phase we're going through. It does require resistance and fighting but it's for the worthiest of all causes, democracy. Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, a 3-part documentary on Amazon Prime, going on my Tim Sika list. You got me on this one too.
Oh, goody. I think you'll like it. It's very entertaining. Mary Todd gets short shrift in this one, but hers is another story completely. But because Lincoln was under so much pressure when he was in office, personal, political, everywhere he turned. What were we going to say?
She had I think she might have had some mental issues, Mary.
She did. I think today she would have just been diagnosed as severely bipolar. Yeah. But Lincoln had 2 sons die when he was in office. And
but, still, of all the trauma that he was going through, look still what he managed to do for this country. Just
indescribable, especially when you compare it to what we're living through now. I often wonder what, Lincoln and Jefferson and Adams and Washington would be, thinking about what we're going through now, turning in their graves, I guess, or I don't know.
They would be horrified.
Horrified, yeah.
Your classic movie recommendation of the week is called Ordinary People.
Yeah, I can't believe that Ordinary People, which won 4 Academy Awards, I think, including Best Picture and Best Director for Robert Redford, is 45 years old this year. I remember when I first saw this movie, and yes, we're all getting older. Anyway, it's one of my all-time favorite domestic dramas. It's based on the novel by Judith Guest, which is a very good novel, but I think the movie is even better. And it's about family trauma and the breakdown of a particular wealthy family following the accidental drowning of one of their 2 sons in the aftermath of an attempted suicide of the other son. And it's probably, in my opinion, it's as close to perfection as you can get to any movie in terms of its script, its direction, and its performances. Timothy Hutton, who's in the picture there next to Donald Sutherland, he plays the suicidal son. He won an Oscar for his performance. Mary Tyler Moore is positively revelatory in her dramatic rendering of this emotionally closed-off mother. And Donald Sutherland, also in that picture there, he's superb as the loving husband and father. Donald Sutherland is known for his offbeat roles. And he said once in an interview, he would often audition for parts and they would say to him, you're brilliant, but you're just too associated with weird roles, so we can't cast you. Robert Redford had the genius to put him in this movie, and his performance, it's one of the great screen performances. I don't think he got any kind of acknowledgement during awards season because it was so subtle, but he's brilliant. There's not a single wrong note here in Ordinary People in terms of the film's economy and its communication of its themes. To me, it's just note perfect. I think it's a bona fide classic. If anybody out there listening or watching hasn't seen it yet, I believe it's streaming on both Pluto and Amazon Prime. I think has it to rent, but it's a classic example of classic movie making at its highest level. And
I have
yeah.
not seen this movie. I'm really looking
Oh,
forward to it. Yeah.
oh, you got to see it. Put that on the
Mhm.
Tim Sika list for the Kim McAllister.
I was
Really,
too
Kim, you'll.
little. I was too little when this movie came out. I'm sure my parents would not have let me see this type of movie. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
if you weren't around or you weren't of age when a movie like this came out and you haven't gone back to see
yeah.
these movies, what a great recommendation.
Yeah, I was a teenager when it came out, and it
Mhm.
blew me away. And I remember there was a little bit of controversy. I remember it was nominated alongside Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull, and there were a lot of critics that
Oh.
complained like Raging Bull should have won. The thing is, though, Raging Bull is it's a masterpiece of a movie, but it's not a movie that you can easily revisit because it's just so unpleasant, and
Yeah.
the subject matter is all. Ordinary People is a movie, and I think this is why the Academy picked it. I mean, maybe they could foresee this. It's a movie I've seen at least 25 times, and I can go back to it over and over and still experience the same thing I experienced when I first saw it. It never gets old. It never gets tired. There's so much nuance in there. I think that's why the Academy just liked it more. And that's where like can always sort of like, transcend, your logical, critical faculties. Like in the end, always prevails, and that's why I think the Academy chose it. But and I love it. I also love Raging Bull, but it's a movie that God, I think I've seen twice, 2 or 3 times, and it's a great movie. But oh man, it's like living in somebody's nightmare for 2 hours. Ugh.
Karen says this was very much a departure for Mary Tyler Moore.
Absolutely. She was known. I don't think she had ever even remotely played a part like this because she was known for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show. She's a very funny lady. She was brilliant in this. She was nominated for the Academy Award. She won the Golden Globe for Best Dramatic Performance in a drama. I think that was the same year Coal Miner's Daughter was out, and I think Sissy Spacek won. Because they put them in the same category, Sissy Spacek, who also won the Golden Globe for Best Performance in a Musical or a Comedy, Sissy Spacek wound up beating her for the Oscar, but I suspect it was just by a few votes because Moore is superb in this film. I mean, she's just superb. I don't know. What else can I say? Worth seeing for any one of those 3 lead performances, let alone the story, which is just amazing.
Oh, a lot of people are saying in the chat, this is a movie that's hard to watch, kind of depressing. You're going to need a comedy to lighten your spirits afterwards.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Am I
Interesting.
Am I gonna
No.
cry? Am I gonna be in tears?
You're good, but I don't think it's interesting that people found it depressing. There's an element to it where you go, geez, I kind of wish that didn't have to happen. But when you think about the movie and the story, you're going, no, that's that had to happen. But the hope is in that one scene. You showed that the picture of Donald Sutherland and Timothy Hutton. That's at the end of the movie. That's where the hope is. There's even hope for the situation that evolves around the Mary Tyler Moore character, even though she has to make a decision at some point she kind of has to remove herself at some point. I don't want to give anything away, but no, I found it very hopeful and very moving. I first time I saw it, I cried at the end. I thought it was moving rather than depressing, sad, but not depressing sad,
All right, we're recapping it.
Okay.
The first one you have said is the first one you had for us was "You're cordially invited," and I love it when I get to say mean things on your behalf. You found it annoying. It didn't work for you at all. You found it contrived and stupid, so predictably unfunny that you said it's so stupid that parts of it made you laugh because it was actually the stupidity of it all, not the intent of being funny. You do not recommend You're Cordially Invited under any circumstance. No, it's a no.
Yes.
Dogman. You were surprised by this. You said that's pretty good. You said it's sophisticated, a little bit manic and jammed with jokes, but that didn't distract from the energy or the clever nature of Dogman, and you recommend it. As for Companion, you said this movie was a nice surprise. As a matter of fact, it has one surprise after another. You recommend Companion. The streaming options, you said this one is built for binging. Night Agent season 2 just out. But you said the plot is complicated but really easy to follow, and you recommend this. You loved it.
I like that you said, I think I said it was designed for binging, but I like the way you said it better. It was built for binging.
Built for
Yeah,
binging.
it's built for, yeah, I like the alliterative quality of that. Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
to be here. Proud to serve.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Pitt, you have me convinced that this is on my list. It's an HBO Max series, medical drama. You said each episode covers 1 hour of an emergency room trauma unit shift. Superb. You said from the production to the scripts to the acting by Noah Wiley, you say this is compelling and riveting. The Pitt on Max is a yes to Tim Sika. And you have a way to lift us up out of our political nightmare with this 3-part documentary, Abraham Lincoln. It is on Amazon Prime. You say you highly recommend it, especially for anyone exhausted by current politics. You said it's a reminder of who we are, basically. You said it brings calm and sanity. It is Abraham Lincoln. It is streaming on Amazon Prime. Thumbs up from Tim Sika. And your classic movie recommendation of the week, Ordinary People. You said, yeah, maybe it's heavy, but you really like this movie. You think it stands the test of time, and you say it's worth watching again, worth going back for.
Yeah, there you go. Very good
Right.
summation. Yeah. Yeah.
And before I let you go,
Yes.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on the Oscar nominations. If you had any predictions or any thoughts on who got left out, who you thought.
Yeah,
what
I
will
thought,
rise to the top?
I was surprised that Amelia Perez got 13 nominations, and
Mm.
I suspect that's because of the influence of Netflix, and
Oh.
they have the money and the power to really push a film. I
Yeah.
did like Amelia Perez. I recommended it. I think it was I thought it was unusual and different, but I was surprised by that. I was also a little disappointed that Marianne Jean-Baptiste was not nominated for Best Actress for Hard Truths. I thought she gave the performance of the decade. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant acting. But again, the movie, it's always economics with films. I know it's a business, but I don't know if Bleecker Street, the distributor, had the sufficient funds to push it into an Oscar campaign, or maybe it's because it was a British film. I don't know. But I was disappointed in her not being nominated. And God, there was one other thing I was disappointed with. I can't remember what that was. Clarence Macklin, who was in a movie called Sing Sing, which we talked about.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he actually came out of that system. This guy, Clarence Macklin, and he played a role in this movie that was based on him, where he was absolutely brilliant. He's never had any acting experience. I was a little disappointed that they didn't acknowledge him too, just because of the narrative of what accompanied that movie and him getting to that point. He gave a brilliant performance, but otherwise, I thought that you know what I got wrong, Kim? Remember I told you I thought Wicked was going to sweep at the Globes. It's not getting anything. It's not getting any acknowledgement. I don't know what that is. I totally miscalculated on that. And it seems like the energy is sort of going out of Wicked. Like it's probably not. I mean, I'm sure it'll get some kind of technical Oscar, maybe for production design or special effects or something. Yeah. But it's weird that nobody's talking about Wicked that much.
Mars is in a bad mood today anyway, it seems, but he didn't like Wicked. I loved it.
Who didn't like it?
Mars. Mars in the chat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. It didn't get universally great reviews, but it was a box office hit. It made a lot of money. A lot of people went to see it. which is always good for the business. I have my issues with the source material. I never really cared for the show, and I don't particularly like the music or the lyrics too much. But I thought the movie was pretty textbook. I mean, it was, if you're gonna make a movie out of a stage production, that's the way to do it. The way they did it
Yeah.
in Wicked, it was very well done. It seemed like a movie. It was, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway,
John
I
has a
thought,
point. John
yeah.
says Wicked might get more nods when part 2 comes out. That might be what they're waiting for.
That's a really good point, because it
Mhm.
took, I think, 3 Lord of the Rings movies for the last. It was the 3rd Lord of the Rings movies that finally won the Best Picture Oscar. Yeah, and that was like a series and an IP that almost needed to be complete. So that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
they may wait till yeah. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought of it. Yeah.
Oh, my husband wants you to know that if you like Lincoln, watch the Grant documentary as well. You're gonna really like that as well.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
great. I will do that. Yeah, I love
All
those
right.
historical documentaries.
Tim
Okay.
Sika, I enjoy you so much. We missed you last week.
Thanks.
As a matter of fact, people were like, "What am I going to do with all my classic movie recommendation? I don't know what to watch this weekend." So thank you
Oh,
for coming
gee.
back.
That's so
Thank
nice of you. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to know
Absolutely.
that some people are listening. Yeah, that's always edifying. So thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me go on like this. I
Absolutely.
don't think I have another venue where I can bloviate the way I do on your show.
I'll take all the bloviating you got. Thank you, Tim
Okay,
Sika.
okay, Kim.
At the
Talk to you next
movies
week.
with Tim Sika. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love it. Thank you for all your comments, everybody. I appreciate you engaging during that segment. And as always, I will pull Tim Sika's movie review segment and post it as a standalone video. So if you could go click like on that and leave a comment, that'll push it to other people. And I want people to know that Tim Sika has these great ideas and these great things to say about these movies. I want more people to know that he's here every Friday at 1:30 to talk movies with us. I'm very fortunate that he is. Teacher Lori telling Tim to have a good weekend. A lot of love for Tim in the chat. Like Tim very much, says Karen Cooper. And yeah, Rev P agrees. They're all goo over Emilia Perez, which I think Tim had said at one time. It's kind of a weird movie. Maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know. Cece says Ordinary People was just on one of my channels the other day, but I passed it and watched the China Syndrome instead. Well, I'm going to go back and watch Ordinary People because I've never seen it. So Tim just gave me so many good things to watch this weekend. Mars says Trauma Code on Netflix is a great doctor show. It's Korean. I've never heard of it as well. Um, yeah. Rev P says on Howard Stern, James Caan was asked by Howard, "Oh yeah, that Will Ferrell is funny, huh?" And James said, "Oh, funny, yeah, funny like cancer." Oh, ouch. Yeah, that's not very nice. Um, yeah, so good comments. Thank you for that. And again, a thank you to Tim Sika for coming by the show. Jim says, always enjoy Tim and the Culture Blasters takes on the show and the movies. One of the things I love is comparing the reviews and how different they are. And neither one of them loved that first movie, the one that is the romance. But what's interesting is how much Tim did not like it versus how much Michael Snyder was like, meh, I don't know. But it always makes me think when they both review. They both, by the way, really like Dogman and they both like Companion. So if they both like it, I'm thinking there's something to the noise there. Let's go back to some of these stories because one of them that I had for you that I made the key on the show is about these updated rickshaws, which they want to transform the streets of India. So Hyundai has come out with these rickshaws that are updated. You can see it from the picture. There's a three-wheeled version and then there's a four-wheeled version as well. And they're electric rickshaws. So that'll take away some of the pollution on the roads of India. This is a concept design. These two electric vehicles, they're futuristic alternatives to the rickshaws that are used across in India. They were unveiled at a recent global expo aimed to provide a practical low emission solution for urban transportation. If this takes off, it'll really change India. The pollution from all these smoke spewing rickshaws will be gone, and their kind of raggedy looking nature will be replaced by this high-tech looking thing. So Hyundai partnered with an Indian motorcycle manufacturer called TVS on this project. The whole goal of it was to provide sustainable mobility solutions that align with India's evolving infrastructure, is what they say. They are modern upgrades to the motor rickshaws that are kind of synonymous with what you think of when you think of transportation in India. They say we've reimagined the iconic three-wheeler. Both vehicles, tailored to India's unique environment, have key features. They have an angled windshield for better visibility, they have enhanced collision protection, and they have a flat floor and an extended wheelbase to improve comfort and ergonomics as well. The three-wheeler is designed for maneuvering through narrow city streets. That is meant to be a commuter, transporting goods, or even a rapid emergency response vehicle. They have a stretched wheelbase that gives you more leg room and better seating. A foldable seat creates space for wheelchair users as well. Large tires give you a more comfortable, less bouncy ride. And there's a towing hook that allows them to be pulled out of potholes more easily. They also have height adjustable chassis that can be raised to navigate waterlogged streets during monsoon season. So they pretty much thought of everything here. The designers are testing ideas including water-resistant finishes for the internal surfaces and heat-reducing gloss black paint that could be applied to the roof to reduce heat conductivity as well. The Yeah, it's interesting. They say that the Hyundai Corporation and TVS Motor are in discussions about potentially producing and rolling out the three-wheeler in India. The four-wheeler is currently under review to determine its global potential. So you could see that one maybe around more parts of the world. So I thought that was interesting. Getting ready to change the face of India with this technology. Uh, I'm kind of over time and I had so many things I wanted to share with you, but it'll have to keep till Monday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, let me get the picture off before I do this. Huge, huge thank you to Wes. I saw your $5 pop through PayPal. Huge, huge thank you. Nick throwing down 10. Have a great weekend, he says. Kim and everyone, thank you. You have a good weekend too, Nick, and thank you for the contribution today. I really appreciate it. Trevor Starr in Hollywood with a $10 contribution says, Kim, I missed the after party yesterday. My son called during Mark's show and we talked for 2 hours. Please repeat all the trivia questions from yesterday. Oh, well, I'm glad you had such a wonderful conversation with your son. A 2-hour call is worth everything. So I'm so happy to hear it. And it's always on the recorded version. You can hear it, but I did get some party mail about the trivia questions, and I guess people found them too hard. So I have to revamp the trivia questions. The good news is I have 2 new trivia books, so I have a lot more information and a lot more fun this coming Trivia Thursday. So keep it tuned. Thank you for the $10, Trevor. Thank you for the 20, Beth Farmer. So appreciate you and your nice words. And have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday on the Mark Thompson Show. Gary Dietrich in the lineup. And then it is Hide in Your Cave Monday. So we'll be back to that as well. I hope you have a really good one and make it the very best you can. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Tiny bubbles in the wine makes me happy, makes me feel fun. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over, with the feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. Oh, here's to the golden moon, and here's to the silver sea. But mostly here's a toast to you and me. Tiny bubbles in the wine makes me happy. Ooh, makes me feel fine. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over, with the feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time.
Correction, chassis, not chassis.